record this? There we go. All right. Hello, everybody. This is Dr. D, and we will be talking to Caroline Barnes. We're going to be talking today about expats. I'm sorry for Saturday, the internet and stability was not working, going on and off. So I decided to do a pre-recording and make it a series of women and expats so that you will have something that engages you, keep you watching, and help you out at the same time. So without further ado, we're gonna welcome Caroline Barnes and tell them a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, my name is Caroline. I'm originally from UK, the north of England. I lived in the States, in the United States, in Phoenix. Well, in Phoenix for 20 years, 23 years altogether in the States. And then I've been here in Belize for the last 10 years.
Okay, all righty. So you were in the UK, and what made you decide to go outside the UK?
Well, originally I left temporarily. I was sent on a mission. I was a member of the Moonies, if you remember those from way back in the 70s.
I wasn't born yet. I just born in the 70s.
Often described. It was often described as a cult. Okay. The media were totally hysterical about it at one time. Anyway, I originally left England and went to the States because I was sent there on a mission when I was a Moonie.
So tell me what a Moonie is, because I don't know what a Moonie is, and some people might not know what a Moonie is.
Well, yeah, lots of people don't know anymore, which is kind of makes me laugh because it was so notorious back in the day. Now nobody even remembers what it was. It was founded by a Korean guy called Sun Myung Moon, who claimed to be the Messiah, the second coming. He had the teachings called the Divine Principle, and attracted a lot of young people back in the 70s. Those of us who had Messiah complexes, thought we had to save the world. And I was one of them. I was in it for 14 years.
Wow.
From 1971 till 1985. From the age of 19 and to 33.
Okay. So what was your first touchdown? In United States.
In the States?
What were your first
in
touchdown?
In the United States. The first time I was here was for a very short time. We just came to do a campaign in 1976, and that was in Washington, D.C. I was only there for two weeks that time. Then later I was, what year was that? Now let me think, 1979. I was there for a year and a bit, and then I did a lot of going back and forth. Then again, I was there in 1983 till 1985, which is when I left the Moonies and went back home. And then I came back again 1988 and pretty much stayed. Well, again, I stayed. So I was in the States from 1988 until 2011.
Okay, so 1988, where were you at, like located wise?
1988, well, I actually first went to Montana. I stayed at the Summit Lighthouse Ranch up there, which was a mystery school. And stayed there for a few months. I was studying the mystery teachings, the esoteric teachings of the Ascended Masters, and then I lived in California for 3 years, and then I lived in Phoenix for 20 years.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Okay. But that's good. That's good. You trust me. Have a lot in common. Um, I just, I don't know. I have a friend in the UK, and I met her actually when I was in, trying to think. I met her when I was in Thailand, and she's a
Uh-huh.
wonderful young lady. I wanted to visit, but I knew I didn't want to stay. I know that's like sound crazy, but that was not one of my things that I actually wanted to stay in the UK, is just to go visit. I wanted to go over the Red Bridge. That's all I could see myself as, going over the Red Bridge.
The Red Bridge? What's the Red Bridge?
The bridge with the cables in London, the UK. For me, it looks
Oh,
like it's red, but it's
that
probably not.
must be new. That's something that wasn't there when I lived there, probably. I think that must be some millennial thing. It's
Um,
happened since I've gone.
yeah. So I
Mm.
wanted to see the bridge. I don't care about the Big Ben, and maybe it's the London Bridge. I don't remember. We had a rhyme, the London
No,
Bridge falling down or something like
yeah,
that. I don't know.
right.
So
Yeah, no, London Bridge is actually in Arizona.
wow.
It's
I
been
didn't
there since the 1980s or even the 1970s. They sold it to the Americans. It's right over by Habasupai. I visited it when I was in Arizona.
oh my gosh. All righty now. Oh, okay. Well, hey, and
You
I've
see,
been
you didn't know that you were so close to London Bridge.
no. We're
Now,
being
the
told.
thing is that the joke about that is that Americans tend to think that London Bridge is actually Tower Bridge. A lot of them thought they were buying Tower Bridge. That's the famous bridge that you see in all the pictures. That's Tower Bridge.
Okay.
They
Wow.
bought London Bridge. And I think a lot of them thought they were getting Tower Bridge, but that they would never sell Tower Bridge. It's an iconic part of
Right.
London.
Right. Well, it makes sense. Because we used to have a
Mm,
song, London Bridges falling down, falling down, falling down. So
yep, yep, I remember
and
that.
so
Yeah.
that was a nursery rhyme we grew up with. So that's
Yes.
really good,
Yeah. Yeah.
interesting.
Me too. We sang that when we were kids too.
So that's really pretty cool. So okay, so now you've done there, and then what brought you actually to Belize? Like, why Belize? Like, what drew you
Well, I
there?
lived in. Mainly I was getting, older. I was getting pretty close to retirement age, and I could see I wasn't going to have enough pension to live on, not even close. And so I was looking around for somewhere to live where I could live more cheaply. And I did not want to go back to England because I couldn't I couldn't bear the thought of that cold weather all the time. After living in Phoenix for 20 years, I love the heat. Love the heat.
Okay.
So I was looking around south of the border. I don't speak a word of Spanish. In
Mm-hmm.
my school, we learn French and Latin and Welsh. And I'm not about to take on learning another language, at my age. I'd never be, proficient in it. And I want to live in a place where I'm, you know, limited to 5-year-old level communication because that's probably about the level I could have reached in Spanish. Um, so Belize was a no-brainer because it's simply the only country south of the border that speaks English. The official language here is English. Spanish is also spoken very widely and also Creole, but English is the official language. So that made it very easy for me.
Okay. So
So that's why I came to Belize, really.
okay.
That's it
Oh,
in a nutshell.
Okay. So when you first arrived, what were you doing when you first arrived there in Belize?
Well, I had, to be perfectly honest, now I wouldn't recommend this to anybody. I did what you never do, which is I went sight unseen with no plan. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend that,
Okay.
but that's what I did.
Okay.
So I had booked into the resort Akbal Yoga down on the Keys, just up the coast a little bit from San Pedro, and so I stayed there for about a week. Um, how how esoteric do you want to go here?
You can go esoteric as much as you want. I mean, this is about for people learning and trusting, and this is about being an expat. So it's speaking to people on many levels. So
Okay, sure. Because I was there at Akbal Yoga, and the lady it's a couple who run that little resort there, and she taught yoga every day, 7 days a week. They have a little palapa, which is out over the lagoon, so the water's, you're on this little platform and the water's underneath you. It's a very nice place to do yoga. And she asked me to teach the Sunday morning class because she wanted a break. She knew I was a yoga teacher, so I was very happy to do that. And while I was teaching that class, I could see that one of the ladies there was definitely having an altered state type of experience. But I think of a better description. But I could see something was going on with her. And then she came up to me after the class, and we were chatting about our, like what I was doing, what she was doing. And she told me that she had been in communication during the class with Sri Yukteswar. Now, Sri Yukteswar was the guru of Paramahansa Yogananda. And I had been involved in Phoenix with the Self-Realization Fellowship, so I knew immediately who she was talking about. And we carried on talking, and then she said, oh, I was, explaining what I was doing there. She said, oh, you have to go to San Ignacio. Okay. Now, one person had already told me that, because that's what I was doing. I was just asking around to find out information. So this was the second person now to tell me that. She started telling me about San Ignacio and giving me names and addresses and phone numbers of people there. And she had come down that morning with two friends. This is what she told me. And I met the two friends. So now we had 4 people told me I had to go to San Ignacio.
wow.
And she said that they had driven down from San Ignacio that morning to do this class. Now, I remember I had been there less than a week, so I had no frame of reference. So if somebody told me they drove down from San Ignacio to do my class at 10 o'clock on Sunday morning, I had no reason to doubt that. Later on, I began to see that was actually an impossibility. Unless you set off at 2 a.m. And I don't even know if the water ferries would be even running that early to get you there. So you said, but at that time, I didn't know all that. I had no frame of reference.
Right.
So I thought, okay, that's 4 people. Now, in the Mayan count, which I studied in shamanism, in Mayan count, the number 4 is for determination.
Mm.
So I got 4 people. That's determination. That's deciding. 4 people telling me to go to San Ignacio. So I thought, okay, I'm going to San Ignacio, and I went, and I've been here ever since. And it kind of gradually dawned on me over a period of the next year or so that those women, number one, this is a small enough place that if they were here, I would have bumped into them sooner or later. All the names of people and phone numbers and so on that they gave me were real, checked out. I never saw those ladies again. And plus, when I began to realize they couldn't possibly have driven down from here and got down to Ambergris Key, they would have to have taken the water ferry to get to the yoga class at 10 o'clock was an impossibility. Then I began to think, I think they were angels.
Okay.
That's my conclusion.
Hey, it works. It works.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised at what people and places, or I should say central beings, how they show up.
Yes. Yeah.
Central beings show
the
up at
fact
all.
the fact that she introduced herself to me as having just been speaking to Sri Yukteswar, they knew what I knew, they knew what would resonate with me.
Right. That's amazing. See?
Yeah, so that's how I ended up in San Ignacio. Now, I don't necessarily always tell people that, as I don't really, want people looking at me like I just grew two heads. But on the other hand, I'm kind of at the limit. I am sick and tired of us people, those of us who are awake, having to dumb everything down for those who are not. I think that time is coming to an end as well, because we do no longer have to keep trying to fit in to the collective consciousness.
There you go.
Which we did to some degree just for survival in the past.
Yeah, to make other people feel comfortable. Feel comfortable, but we're not. So I get it. Totally get it.
Well, I'm done with all that personally. I'm finished with hiding.
That's good. It might take some people a little bit, but that's okay too. Wherever people at is like, I just said where they're at. I'm no longer going to worry about it. I deliver the message, and if they can't take the message, then that's not my problem.
It's not your problem. Exactly. Yeah, it's not your problem.
So it makes sense. So like the show, the show was a message. I got my message. Now I'm working on it. Do more pre-recorded shows, and I won't have this problem, and then things won't be so things. I want to have a network.
Yeah.
Network has pre-recorded shows. So whether the internet is working or not, guess what? There's a show.
Get your show.
Right.
Right.
So I'm following that, and that's about working in the spiritual energy versus working in the 3D world energy.
Yeah.
So I'm honoring that. So Macarena Rose, I'm quite sure. Or do you know Macarena? Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I know her because we know everybody knows everybody here. It's kind of on that level. I don't know her well.
Right.
But I know her because everybody in San Ignacio knows her, basically.
Right. Well, I didn't know everybody knew her there.
Yeah. No, pretty much everybody knows her.
Okay. Well, I just met how I got started. I was watching how I got in Belize. I was watching the HGTV video years ago, like back in 2000, and we went to Arizona 2007. I think she was doing her first HGTV series. And Spirit said, you need to write her and you need to see if you're going to go there. Now, I just broke it up with my boyfriend in Winnipeg, Canada, because I couldn't, I was looking to migrate. Like, I didn't want to be in the United States. I lived in Peoria, Arizona, and I just decided to write her. So I said, I'm going to write her. And I wrote her a letter, and I got this response and about property and looking, and told her, look, I'm not famous. So I'm not going to be able to buy this huge house. I have children, blah, blah, blah. And she said, come down. And then maybe it didn't work. I didn't get to go down. Then years later, a friend of mine took Rosita Adevergo's class. She's in San Ignacio as well. She's an herbalist. So I forgot his name, Don.
Oh, Rosa. Yeah, the lady that she wrote the rainforest remedies. Yes, right. Rose Arbigo. Rose,
Yeah,
Rosita, is it
Virgo.
Rosita Arvigo? Yeah.
Virgo, Virgo. They don't say the V.
Virgo.
They don't say the V. A
Oh,
Virgo.
oh, okay. I told you I don't know Spanish. I'm hopeless.
It's okay. So my sister had took her course and she went all the way to Belize, San Ignacio. And
Hmm.
my sister is an RN and she's also a colonics person. She does colonics and everything.
Hmm.
So I was talking to her and she was like, you got to meet this lady. She does the womb, like, because back then I was always searching for women that had fibroids, that had endometriosis.
Right. Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
all some kind of reproductive. So for her, first,
Mm.
Macarena was the first one to open the lid. And then Rosita was the next one to open a lid. And then my sister, so it was a third person. So
Ah.
it was like, okay, I have to go to Belize. And I said, I'll figure it out. I said, Spirit, you work it out. I'm not worried about it. I'm still doing my cooking. I'm still raising my children. I still have things to do. My daughter wants to evidently stay here. I don't know, watching the shows over the years and still keeping in communication, extra Macarena, how she came to be about. I never really got to communicate with Rosita, except to talk about taking a tour. And that's the year my daughter transitioned in 2015. So that's when I decided, you know what, I'm older, my son is graduated from high school, he has his life. My daughter's, she's done college. It's time for me to travel. And then everything fell in place. I called Rosita. I got a friend from Facebook um, to talk to. I forgot how I met her. Somebody introduced me to her. She's how I met you, Susan.
Hmm.
And she's from Alaska. She got me in touch with you. Or did I meet you at the fair? I'm not sure. I think it was Susan.
I can't remember how we came to be in contact, but we said I remember meeting you here, but I can't remember how that came about, to be honest.
You were working on the fair, and I was asking about things because I was trying to get started here and I wanted to figure where
Ah,
I could
okay.
fit in.
Hmm.
And you were
Hmm.
very helpful. You're actually doing a massage on someone there with your
Okay.
chair. So that's
Right.
how I met. I was
Okay.
like,
That's how it
wow,
was.
okay.
Okay. I'd forgotten that.
That's okay. Susan was there, and then she introduced me to the lady that she rented the property there, and it was another couple. They were from America, and they were teaching yoga in a village. The husband and the wife. He was an
Oh,
exercise, and
was that
um,
Lainey and Evan?
um, no,
No.
Charity. Oh my gosh, she was pregnant at the time. Oh my God, oh my gosh. They only had a little boy at the time, and I can't remember his name. But they were from San Diego and they lived in the property down below. They drove their vehicle down. And I didn't know that you could do that.
Oh,
I
yeah,
just,
you
I
can do
just,
that. Yes.
I just caught the plane and
Yeah.
they were very instrumental. So that's how I got started. But I didn't know where to begin after that. I walked around in San Ignacio Village. I ate at some of the restaurants. I got to see some of the stores. I seen the market. I like where I lived at. My house was different than anybody else's house, and that's what I like. My bedroom and there were two bedrooms upstairs. You got to go up, up the stairs. There was the kitchen for it to be eaten at, which was one room on the side, which I like. And downstairs, you want a hammock or wash clothes, you could
Yep.
do that. And
Yep.
then you go up the stairs, and then there's the bedrooms, and then there's the bathroom, the shower. So I like that. And then my
Yeah.
other friend, she just had everything was one room. Her place was one room, and then the people downstairs, they had a 2 bedroom as well. And theirs was more upstairs, downstairs. I like my place, because I had a lot of yard. If I wanted to plant or garden, she said I
Yeah.
could. So
Mhm.
these are things that I couldn't get in United States. I actually could afford to stay there. And then if I went outside my gate, it was a little store. The water guy came in every day and would be up and down the blocks and ask who wanted water. I like
Yeah.
that. And then
Yeah.
at the time, my body was not healing. It was not healing according that I wanted. So I was outside the village. So I had to walk into the village and I would pass a restaurant and then it was this market, and then I would be in the village to go to the farmer's market, or I would take the little red bus. All depends on, what I was feeling my budget was like. So I had just come in July. So for me, that was a beautiful experience. But I didn't like two things: was how the Mennonite treated some of the locals that I've seen, that I was disappointed in, and the other foreigners that how they treat them and how I watch them talk to them. They didn't talk to me the same way that they talked to some of the locals. So those were my only two issues. And I said something to the guy, and my friend was like, okay, evidently you're not from here. I was like, no, I'm not. But I said, everybody deserves a form of respect. I remember saying to him. He had the little market, and he had the brooms and the mop right down the street from a little restaurant that was yellow in town. And I can't remember, but his attitude.
A lot of things have changed.
Yeah.
Since then.
That's what bothered me the most. So I wanted to come back. But like I said, my daughter's unexpected transition, I probably would still be there, but life is what it is. I went on to Thailand, didn't even think about coming to Belize when I left this time. So I was like, okay, so I know for me, being an expat, speaking a little Spanish, just enough of Spanish to get me by and understanding. I didn't even realize, because I was speaking Spanish so much, that English, you were the first English person I spoke to.
Oh, really?
Because everybody, it was going by, I was speaking Spanish, like to get my phone set up, to get my internet set up, everything at my house.
Goodness.
I've gotten so used to it. So when I heard English for the first time, it was like, oh, wow. Okay, gotta find it. So for me, that was like, okay. I didn't know that people spoke English automatically there, because everybody I spoke to spoke in Spanish. The person I rented the house from was Spanish, was really great. I liked it. So for me, that was a big thing. So my thing is asking you, as being an expat, what would you suggest for people to come there? How would you suggest that a person that might, an expat and a person that wants to actually maybe just stay around for a holiday, what would be the first thing you would suggest for them coming to Belize, like they would do?
Well, if somebody, and this has happened, because as you know, I do the chair massage out there downtown. And I have had people come to me and ask that question. And I would always say, if you're thinking of moving here, don't just come down and buy a house. Come down, stay for, 6 months or a year and just rent and look around and decide if this is really where you want to be. Because you might be here for 6 months and a year and realize this is not really where you want to be. And if you have bought a house here, they typically take 2 to 3 years to sell. And so, it's much better to come and test the waters and rent for a while. And then, you're more savvy as to how things go on here. And you're less likely to end up in a real estate scam, because there's lots of them down here.
Yep.
I remember because Macarena was one of the people I first met here in San Ignacio, and she said, a taxi driver will sell you a house or some land. He takes the money, you never see him again, and then you find out you don't have title.
Right. Been there. Well, I didn't get taken, but I was told.
And yes. You see, they have this thing where the government gives people land. It's a bit like the homesteading thing, where they will assign you some land, and then you have to make certain improvements on that land within a period of, say, 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
and then you can get title. Now, many people, they've got these pieces of land, either they didn't make the improvements or whatever, they don't have title, and they'll come and prey on some innocent tourist and sell it for, for them, which is thousands, which is vast riches for them. Sounds terribly like an awful good deal to the tourist. And, they cough up the money, the person disappears, and they find out they don't really own this land at all.
Right. And they're out the
That's
money.
something you have to be very aware of, and so if you just come down and buy something when you don't really know what's going on here, you don't really know how to protect yourself from that kind of thing.
Okay. So that's a good
So that's one thing to be aware of, much better to come and rent.
Right. So how would someone know about renting? I got lucky because I was actually in a group with Susan that does the Belizean plants. She ran the group. She's also a nurse. She's from Alaska. I haven't seen her. Try to get in touch with her. Last time we heard, she was the one that helped me get with my neighbors to get a ride back to the airport from San Ignacio to Belize.
Is this Susan Barnes? No. Yes, Susan Barnes.
Yeah.
She doesn't live here. She lives in Carzal now.
What? I know she was moving. She kept moving. She said last time I talked to her, she was going to watch somebody's property, and then she was going to move to Plessy? No.
Placencia.
Placencia.
No, she was here for a few years, and then she changed partners. So I don't even know if she still has the last name Barnes, because she was married to Randy Barnes. But with her new husband, she moved to Carzal. She's been there for years now.
Wow, see, that's how long I've been out of touch. So yeah, I couldn't find her, but she's the person that got
That's
me.
why, because she's in Carzal.
Okay, yeah, because I tried to contact her, and I wasn't able to get in contact with her. So it's all good. Makes sense. But that's how I got in contact, and that's how I got the place that I was able to rent. And it was reasonable. We went to the place. My driver, I actually hired before. I looked ahead of time. Matter of fact, it was someone that Macarena Rose had suggested, because there are different schemes. Because Belize, there's Belize City, and then San Ignacio is not like I thought it'd be like, a little ride, but it's a journey. Like you said.
Oh, right. It's right across the country. It's right across the country. Yeah.
So for me to
but the country's only 80 miles wide.
Right. So for him to take me from there, we stopped, we got lunch, we ate, it was nice. He knew who I was talking from. He was from San Ignacio, which was really nice. Was able to find the lady. I was able to contact Susan. She was able to get the landlord, was able to get everything. And the next day I got my rent, and it already had a bed, which, normally didn't. I got my pots and pans when I got there, got my little stove and everything was set up, which was really nice. So I was fortunate because I was supposed to be there at that time and made the right connections. So for someone, I would suggest that you if you can find someone to do that with, because real estate is really different, because there are people that charge an enormous amount of rent, which I found out after I got there, that what they were charging was not adequate, for what you get, and you gotta know. So I was blessed.
There are plenty of Belizeans who are quite happy to take tourists, for whatever they can get. That's just human nature, right? They're going to do it. But that's why, it's really good to stay around here for a bit. You have to feel your way into the situation. So, stay at a hotel for a few weeks, and then gradually, because it's all what really happens in Belize, the real things that go on here, it's all by word of mouth.
Right.
You have to get to know people, because like, if you go online and you go to, Kyle Classified online, or there's Kyle Finds, that's not really classified, but they're putting all this stuff up online for rent. And, like you say, the prices are very high.
Hmm. And you wouldn't know if you don't live there. That's how I
Well,
found
yeah,
out.
well, that's the thing, because if you're coming from the States, your dollar is worth $2 here. So if the rent is 1,200 Belize dollars, and that's actually 600 US dollars.
Right, right.
Um, so to you, it might seem quite cheap. And if it is cheap, then it's great. Go ahead, because it's in the 10 years I've been here,
Hmm.
um, Belizeans have got pretty savvy about what they can charge, and they're not willing to take less anymore.
Right,
Now
right.
I'm here where I am now.
Hmm.
You can see it. That's one room, kitchen's in the back there. You see the door, that's the bedroom. So it's a
Hmm.
one bedroom apartment. This came fully furnished. So I had the stove, the fridge, all the furniture, and I pay 600 Belize a month for it.
Wow.
And that includes everything. It includes
Okay.
the electricity, the water, the internet,
Oh,
includes everything.
okay. That's different because I paid for my own internet
Yeah, no.
myself. As matter of fact, a
Right.
person came out and I bought my own refrigerator but
Yeah,
I left that behind.
usually that is the case. Most rentals here don't have all that.
Right. So, and I was
But,
lucky enough that another friend, Susan, was the one that gave me had the extra bed, and I got to actually
yeah.
use the bed. So, but
Mm.
for me, I put a whole bunch of essential oils on it to prevent it from having bugs because it was on the floor. Didn't have a bed frame. So,
Yeah, that's you. That's another thing you have to be aware of if you're coming to a tropical country like this. There are bugs. There's lots of
right,
bugs. There's all kinds
right.
of bugs, and they all like to eat you.
Lemongrass is good for you guys. Lemongrass is real good.
So,
I'm just telling you.
yeah,
Um,
essential oils are a very good thing to have.
so okay, so work finding out somewhere to uh actually stay is a good. Now, I didn't know if they have hostels there. Are there hostels there?
Right here in San Ignacio, there's a backpackers hostel.
Okay.
I know of one also. There's a backpackers hostel down in Dangriga. So, and I'm sure there are other ones that I don't necessarily know about.
Okay.
And there are very what I have to use the word cheap. I can't think of anything else. Um,
Inexpensive. Inexpensive.
inexpensive. Those inexpensive hotels. You can go to a really expensive resort, or pay 250 US a night, or you can find a really inexpensive little hotel, and you can pay $20 Belize a night. So,
Okay.
and you can find anything in between.
Right. Wow.
So, you can find what's in your price range, and then stay for a while, and figure out what you're going to do. Give yourself the time to explore.
Hmm. That's what I liked. I mean, I went down
Mm.
there all nilly-willy and didn't worry about it because I'd been doing my research. So for me, that was easy, but I do that. I do things weirdly. I was blessed to have someone that actually took me around to see some of the things, but I didn't. She did not say that it was going to be a half of a country to get there, and I didn't worry about it. That would have been a good to know, like when you're going. And I didn't realize,
Yeah.
which I did like, that is, I was close to Guatemala. I can go over the bridge. Or some things I didn't like, I could go actually over there. So those are the things that I figured out once I got there. that I like,
Right.
you know what I mean? And
Yeah. Mm.
I met some people and I did some interviews while I was there. There was a guy that he's a piano player, he's a singer. I forgot his name. And then a friend, when I put it on video, she said, "That's my uncle." And I was like, "Really?" She's like, "Yeah." But he's always playing music and he waits for the tourists to go there. He's from Belize. He's a Belizean. He's a local. I can't remember.
Is that Pablo Callado? Pablo
No,
Callado?
no,
No,
no, no.
no. Okay.
He's more of my complexion and he's real thin and he has a beard. And he's always when the ships comes in, he's always playing at another hotel, the hotel where a lot of tourists are. But you'll see him in town, or I would see him in town back then in the day.
Oh, right.
So
Okay.
he was wonderful. I was just at a restaurant. We just started talking, and then I talked to another gentleman. He was from New York, but he was from Belize. Came from New York. He was a chef, and he was opening up his
I
first vegan
I know
restaurant.
him. I know him. Yeah.
So, and then we got start to talking, and he says, "Well, you know about this," and then I showed him my recipes, and showed him my book, and he was like, "This is probably what I knew. You know, you could probably work for me." I was like, "I cannot work. I'm a farmer." He was like, "Yeah, but that can change. You know, there's certain visas and blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Oh, well." I was like, "Okay." So that gave me hope. I ran into the people that I was supposed to run into. So that again is
Right.
about where
Hmm.
you're supposed to
Yeah.
be
Mm.
in your life. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to help, even my friend, she's thinking about going to Belize. And I said, number one, you got to figure out if you're a city person. For me, I know I'm not a city person. I know if I had to stay in Belize City, I would have turned around the next week and would have been on a plane right back to Phoenix, because that's how much I'm not a city person. I did that. I
Right.
went to
Yeah.
Bangkok and its city, and we had to find it around. And my girlfriend, she was on a Koh Samui. My other friend was in Chiang Mai, and I stayed there all of 7 days of the hotel. I was miserable because it was too many
Hmm.
people, too much stuff. I like the stuff, but that's a place that I only would do 3 days. A city is somewhere for
Right.
me, anywhere. 3 days maximum. Four, we're pushing it. 4 days. And I'm
Yeah.
talking about days, not nights. So that means 2 nights, 3 days.
Yeah.
I know my
Hmm.
limitations because I'm not
Yeah.
a city girl. When I
Right.
lived
Yeah.
in Hawaii, I lived on the Big Island. The reason I lived on the Big Island, it's country. Honolulu, I would go for my visits, and Maui, I go for a visit, but I want to get on a plane right away and go back. But
Yeah.
you gotta know what is good for you and
Hmm.
what's it
Yeah.
like.
You have to know what you want.
Right. So that works. The eating situation, there's not a lot of restaurants and they don't have to be. What I liked about San Ignacio is the village that you go and you pick your produce. So you're getting fresh food. And I basically got that in Thailand, living in the country, that I was
Yeah.
fixing food that was fresh and healthy every single day.
Yeah.
That is very much needed. So they didn't need a lot of restaurants
Right. Because
for that.
most people make their own food. Yeah.
Right.
They.
So you know your nutritional value that you're getting, and
Right.
then you're able to see. So, the milk came from the different farms. So, I just
The
I
milk
like that.
is wonderful. I know I get my raw milk every week in the market. I have since I've gotten here.
Okay.
The, a lot of people think that dairy is bad for you. I personally do not believe that. What is
I know.
bad for you is processed, homogenized, all the rest of it. That's what's bad for you. It's
Right.
not dairy that's bad for you.
Right. It's processed. I get it because that I feel the
Yeah.
same way.
I
Matter of
wouldn't
fact,
touch homogenized milk with a barge pole. It tastes disgusting. I mean, the taste alone tells you there's something wrong with this. It's not food.
right. So what I happen to get, which I want to show people, that I've been wanting to get for years, 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 years. Hold on for a while. I can put my chair in. I've been wanting to get this for years.
Camel milk. Goodness me, where'd you get that?
I actually got it from a camel's farm. I was been
Really?
talking about getting camel's milk for many, many years because it helps your immune system and it
Mhm.
has a lot of other beneficials. And this
Yeah.
is not pasteurized, which I like. I wanted to try camel's milk, because of
Mm.
the enzymes that it helps. It helps the immune system and other things, but also it's used for your body and your skin, your nails, and everything else you can use. And
Oh,
children that
really?
really have allergies, like my
Uh-huh.
daughter could not drink milk, the milk,
Mhm.
unless it was goat's milk. And I would get her fresh goat's milk um, from the health food store. They would have
Yeah.
goat's milk. So I'm not surprised that certain things that are done, this is grass-fed, farm raised, certain ways. Same thing with the goat. Now she loved goat cheese. I'm
Mhm.
not a big on goat cheese. Goat cheese has a funky taste. I do like goat meat, like curry goat. I love. So there's certain things I like
Mhm.
that I just is not, like I said, not a normal American taste, if you will. And
Well, the normal American taste, I wouldn't recommend it because, well, let's not say any more than that.
right. So for me, I drink a lot of different things. I love coconut water, coconut. I used to buy Thai coconuts in Lily's Market. There was an Asian market called Lily's Market. So for me, I grew
Mhm.
up around a lot of Asian markets and not thinking about it,
Yeah,
but the food was much healthier and tastier.
absolutely.
Like,
Yeah.
and I had kimchi, didn't realize what kimchi was until I got a lot older. I was like, oh, that was at this my girlfriend's house. Or um, Bamis sandwiches,
Uh-huh.
but they had vegetables, like, but I grew up with in Philadelphia, they're called hoagies, or in other places they're called submarines. But the
Mm.
hoagies that I grew up with had a lot of vegetables on it. It was always lettuce, it was always tomatoes, it was pepperoncinos, they had olives on it. This is a normal sandwich for me.
Mhm.
Then I go out to these other places that, oh, they think they're doing something good by putting mayonnaise and lettuce and tomatoes and calling it a sandwich. That's not what I was, used to. So I'm like, so your submarine and your hoagie is different. And all depends. Like I said, I'm from Philadelphia. So it's cheesesteaks and Geno's and Pat's, they're good, but the cheesesteaks I grew up in Philadelphia and Manioc area, they were the bomb. We add bacon to the cheese bacon. We would add just all kinds of vegetables. So our hoagies, our subs, our food was a lot different from region to region, just like your accents
Mm.
are a lot different.
Well, yeah. These days, I mean, when I was growing up, I was born in 1952, and we grew up in a world where our food supplies were not contaminated. We ate whatever we want
Hmm.
because we didn't have to think about what we ate. That's what I'm trying to say. It wasn't an issue. Nobody was overweight. Hardly anybody had allergies. Almost nobody had asthma. Nobody had ADHD.
Uh-huh.
Nobody had Alzheimer's. This has all happened in my lifetime, and it's because of the contamination of the food.
Yeah.
So now we have to constantly worry about what we're eating. The reason I believe why obesity is so prevalent is because not because people are suddenly became greedy,
Hmm.
but it's because the food they're eating has no nutrition, so they're hungry all the time. Plus, what they are eating creates addictions because it's chemicals. Um, it's so natural. Now, I experienced it myself directly. I moved to the States. I was there for a year and a half. I put on weight. I went back to England. I was there for a year and I lost weight. I wasn't dieting.
Mm-hmm.
I have
Yep.
never dieted in my life. I don't believe in it.
Okay. Oh
So
yeah.
then I came back to the States, put on weight. I would go back to England. I'd lose weight without even trying. Now, the situation in the States, they have exported it to so many countries in the world now where we're all eating fast foods. We're all eating junk foods. Those
Yep.
things didn't exist when I was growing up. They did not exist. So now we have obesity all over the world as well.
Well, you're right.
So it's horrendous what's happened in just in that in my lifetime.
I
And
believe it.
it's like, oh, I feel like sometimes it's like you just you just shouting in the wind because nobody listens. Even the Mennonites here,
Mm-hmm.
who I used to think were sort of different, they put they're putting chemicals on their food now.
What?
They are using things on their food. So even here in Belize now, the food's starting to get contaminated because
Wow.
so many Mennonites are just want to make money.
So it's best for you to grow your own. That's
I
the best I can
am
say.
personally, I'm disgusted with them because
Right.
I thought of them like sort of like a kind of Amish, that
Right.
they weren't like that they wouldn't do that. And now I find out that they do.
Right. It's saddening because what I was telling people, my nanny used to have the farmer deliver the milk and the yogurt and the butter to the house. She didn't
Yeah,
go
yeah.
to, like, we go to the store and get the butter. She would get the man, and the milkman would actually come in the morning and big these bottles of milk, and you would have the cream on top of the
Yes,
milk. It
that's
was
how
not
we grew up.
so, I mean,
Yeah.
it was later on, but I mean, in the 80s, but for some reason, the milkman stopped coming. And she said because more people were not getting
I'll I'll
orders.
t- I'll tell you
I,
the reason why the milkman stopped coming. I'll tell you the reason. It's not an accident. We grew up in that kind of world. The milkman delivered our milk. He had the field across the road from us. It was his cows. He milked every morning, and the milk was delivered to our doorstep every morning. That the reason why that ended is it's called savings of scale. This is big business. They want to make what they call savings of scale. In order to do that, they have to give milk a shelf life. Milk hasn't got a shelf life. Milk goes
right,
bad after 1 day, 2 days
right,
if you've got refrigeration. So then that's why they did all this stuff with it, making it homogenized and all that, because it gives it the shelf life. That means that from a business standpoint, you get savings of scale. So what happens to the local farmer? They legislate him out of existence. They
right.
make it impossible for him to continue with all these bogus rules,
Mm-hmm.
supposedly for our safety, while they're giving us a product which is,
Inferior.
inferior product, which is worse than inferior, is killing us,
Right.
so that they can make their savings of scale.
Oh, I got you. Oh,
So
trust me.
this is what's gone on here. So, and plus, instead of having an independent farmer who's looking after his animals and his land, because that's his livelihood,
Mm-hmm.
now you just have big agribusiness. Oh, you just do whatever you want. This is just about getting more money out of things. That's all it's about. And if the land is dead after 10 years, well, so what? We made our profit.
Right.
That is how they think. Plus, then the farmer, who is an independent person making his own money, has to, join the rest of the wage slaves.
Yep.
This is how you destroy a society.
Yep.
It's happening in front of our eyes. It's happened in my lifetime, and I'm horrified by it. And I'm speechless, really.
Yeah, I get you. Trust me, I
But
get you.
I will not lie. I will not shut up. I will not be quiet about it. What
I
else
get
can
you.
you do? at
somebody
least
will,
in
somebody will listen and pay attention, because I was
some,
saying my
yeah.
grandmother also, when we, whatever scraps we didn't eat, she would put in a bin and give to the farmer to take
Yes, yeah.
to
We
eat, to
did
feed the pig.
exactly the same thing when we were
Right.
kids. 2 doors from our house was an old lady. She was called Mrs. Brindle. I still remember her. She raised chickens. All the vegetable peelings from our house, we were giving them as kids. Okay, take these to Mrs. Brindle.
Yep.
And every year, Mrs. Brindle gave us a chicken at Christmas.
See, that's the stuff that
That's how people used to live.
right. And
In
that,
harmony, in balance with each other and
mhm,
with the environment. And now what we just have is absolute raving lunatics who are just concerned to get as much money out of anything that they can, and they have no commitment to the land, no commitment to the other people. It's just about take as much as you can while you can.
right. I get you.
That's all they care about. And whether they're poisoning people, which they are,
Hmm.
using their FDA and all those bastards, liars, that they don't care.
I get you totally.
It is such a con. It is
Right.
such a con.
And
If
it's
we,
sad. It's really sad that that's, I'll talk to you later after the
Mhm.
interview, because I want to talk to you about some things. But
Okay.
that being said, like, we know that's one of the reasons that I like San Ignacio, was because of the farmers market, because of the people.
Mm,
And I
yeah,
know that you're saying that they have suffered a great injustice because of COVID. And this is, people don't realize this was designed this way. They designed
absolutely.
it to
Oh,
destroy and
yes.
weed out who they could destroy by this
Yeah.
industry. But as
Yes.
you see, from them actually, it actually, instead of it not, it destroyed some of the people, but it also healed some of the earth when we were not out there on the rivers and the
Oh,
poisons and stuff
oh
like that.
yes, yeah. The earth
And
immediately healed itself.
right.
When you were here, we were at the beginning of a year, like about an 8-year-long drought in Belize. The rainfall got less and less each year,
Mhm.
up until last year.
Right.
Up until last year. And within 6 weeks of the lockdown, literally within 6 weeks of the lockdown, the rain came.
See,
And we have,
balancing nature.
this year, we've had more like normal Belize weather, which is a lot of rain.
Okay. See, and
Um,
that works. See, like I said,
yeah.
I like it. For me, I like it. That's good for me. But then again, like I said, I like to visit. And the fact that I was so close to Guatemala, that made me happy, because I could
Mm-hmm.
go visit. So, the thing is, doing a visa run and other things, and having to
Yeah.
have the money, like we talked about, you got to have $25,000. That was years ago. Who knows what it might be now? I know when I was looking at it, to actually stay there, they wanted you to have $25,000, and how you can stay, because they don't want you to take. But there are, I don't know, are there, like in other countries, like I know in Canada, they're looking for certain people to come to their country and be
Mm-hmm.
part of it, that they can get a certain kind of visa if they do a certain kind of career, besides
Yes. Yeah.
uh, having the $25,000. There's another way. Do you
Mm.
know if that's you can do that in Belize or not?
Well, I came as a retired person.
Okay.
I was 60. So that meant I didn't have to come with money. Um, so yeah, I don't know a lot about that. Plus, once COVID happened, you have no idea what the government did here. And you know how you used to get your passport stamped once a month?
Uh-huh.
For first 6 months, it's 50 Belize dollars. And then after that, it's 100 Belize dollars every month to get your stamp. Well, I
Oh,
mean, it wasn't 5 minutes after the lockdown, and they doubled it. They doubled it.
wow.
And God knows what else they've doubled since then. Because I have my residency for years now, so I don't really follow that. But
Mhm.
um, they're just
They got to make money. And the thing is, it all
Well,
depends
the
on where.
problem is when there were no tourists coming in, the government here is virtually bankrupt. So yeah, they're trying to get money any way they can.
Wow. So do they have visa runs? Can you do visa runs? Like I know in other countries that you
What you mean, like leave the country and come
come back.
back?
Yeah.
Well, I never did that personally. I don't know if some people, there wasn't really an advantage to it much here because, well, I can't, it's such a long time ago now.
Right.
I can't really remember. But if you do it too many times, they'll stop you coming back.
Wow. Okay. I know that's what we had to
You
do.
can't just keep going out and coming back without some good explanations about what you're doing. Sooner or later, they're going to ask you what you're doing. It's not just going to be an automatic thing where they let you back in again.
Right. Right.
So I just stayed here because I stayed here because first of all, you have to be here for a year and then you can apply for residency. And then if you can't just leave when your application for residency is in, because it will invalidate it and you have to start all over again.
Wow. Okay. So that's good to
So
know.
it is much more sensible just to stay here and keep paying my $100 a month. And you know how long it took them? After my application was approved, it took them another 3 years to finally give it me because they wanted to keep collecting 100 every month.
Wow. Okay. Okay. But
And
if you
finally
come with
got it.
okay, but if you come with a business person, I know there's different
Well,
processes.
I didn't look into that because it wasn't even an option for me. So plus I was old enough to come in as a retired person. So
Okay.
that's how
And what is the
I did it.
retirement age? Somebody told me it was 40, 45 there.
It could be. I don't know. I mean, I was 60 when I came here, so I don't know what the low number is. I don't know.
Okay, so that's something that you guys, I will let me, while I'm doing this now, since we're on the interview. This little person. Retirement. Okay, they got a retirement program. Let's see. So we can see, share my screen.
Yeah, it's there's probably changes since I came in, since I did it, and as I say, I don't bother keeping up with it because it doesn't apply to me anymore. Thank
Right,
God.
right. You got it at the right time. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys, so you can see. Share the screen. And there it is. Okay. It says any retirement at the age of 45.
Oh, right. Okay.
Older. Dependents include spouse and children under the age of 18, or children are allowed to provide a school enrollment certificate, and must have a beneficial recipient of pension must be $2,000 monthly.
Yeah.
Okay, or 2,400 annually from a source outside of Belize. Must be able to provide written undertaking, deposit the amount of bank and bank credit or licensed financial institute in Belize. And you must pass a security clearance by Belize. And must be able to remain a minimum of 30 consecutive days annually. That's must remain.
Yeah.
So, and they said the incentive of the benefits. Let's look at this. Okay. A person can be accepted in the program. You get a residential card that you're entitled to the country. Duty exemptions shall be Now, that's what I would like to know, duty exemptions for the filing
Oh,
items.
all the personal, and yeah, once how it used to be anyways, once you got your stamp, your residency, then you could bring in all your personal, like furniture, everything. You could bring it in without paying the duty, like within a certain period after you got your stamp.
Okay. So
Because
that means,
normally, if you bring this stuff in, the duties are extremely high.
okay. So that means your personal household effects, personal
Yes.
boats, personal
Yeah.
aircraft,
Yeah.
and vehicle model must be within the last 5 years. Allowed to purchase a new vehicle every 3 years. That's nice. Tax exemption shall exempt from all taxes and duty on income received from sources outside of Belize and capital gains taxes and inherit taxes. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So these are just some things for people to know what they can look for if you want to become a citizen in Belize, what you can
Well,
do.
you can be a resident without being a citizen.
Oh,
Yeah, you a permanent resident is not a citizen. You become a permanent resident, but you keep your own country of origin passport.
mhm.
So if you were American, you keep your American passport. If you're British, you keep your British passport, and so on.
Okay, well, I'm gonna get that too. So I want everybody to know. So because since we're talking about that, that's
Yeah.
very important. Um, okay. All right. Says, did it go up yet?
Yeah, it
Says,
says permanent residents in Belize can work without a permit and need not renew their visas,
okay. Oh, you got it. It just said. All
which is
right.
what I've got.
Okay. Okay. Legal pathways for you guys. Citizenship. So this is all on Central America website. Um, which you can do. Well, they have it on here. The cost is $25 as long as you have a valid for a 30-day request for
Right.
extension.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
But you can stay up to 6 months at $25 a month. After that, it goes up.
Wow. And then once you renew it for every 30 days for up to 6 months, the $50, that's the renew stamp. So this is what we're talking about. Many people fall in love and want to stay, blah, blah, blah. They got the quality, retirement person incentive program. And then they have work permits. If you want to work in Belize, volunteer, fulfill all this stuff. A friend of mine worked at a bar there. And since COVID, she actually had to come home because she couldn't afford it anymore. But that's like most people. It's interesting. So now you see all the different things that you can do there to say in citizenship. If you want to become a citizen, there's some of the rules and changes. And you really want to know the government if you want to become a citizen. Because sometimes you can become a citizen, and I don't know if you can have dual citizenship with Belize and the other countries. Some countries want you to give up your whole citizenship and just use them. But sometimes you can have dual. So it's up to you. You need to look into that. If that's something that you guys would want to look into
Yeah.
as well.
If you are from a Commonwealth country, which doesn't include the US, if you happen to be from Canada, which is a Commonwealth country, or any other Commonwealth country, and you have a residency in Belize, you don't have to be a citizen to vote. I'm a British citizen with a British passport, but I'm a permanent resident in Belize. And because Britain is a Commonwealth country, I can vote.
Mm,
If you are from the US and you want to vote here, you have to become a citizen.
wow.
So for me, actually, there is absolutely no advantage to me in becoming a citizen.
Right.
With permanent residency and I can vote, why would I give up my British citizenship? There is no reason to.
Right. Okay.
So that's just something to bear in mind.
All right, that won't let me do that. So I was trying to share this one. Now it's like, okay, don't need that one. There we go.
I'm kind of running out of time here.
Okay.
I'm going to have to
Okay, that's
to
it.
be
Like, I just wanted to share with you guys. So I am going to cut this off. Hold on, let me go back to full screen so you guys can see that. And we're going to stop sharing, going back. And I want to say this is Cecily from Food Alchemy Network. So thank you guys for tuning. And like I said, I had one question for you after this interview, then we're done. So.
Okay.